lesson. I will give some tips that can be applied to any age group, as well as breaking things down into smaller grade groups. First, let's take a look at 4 tips that can be applied to all ages. 1. Take time to prepare. Look at the overall month ahead of time, and then prepare each week the week before. Don't just do exactly what the lesson has planned out. You won't have time to do everything, and your kids will get bored with doing the same thing every single week. Pick and choose and then make the lesson your own. Adapt it to your students that you have in that class. Not all kids will fit every single criteria, so get to know your kids and then start making lessons around them that they will learn the most and they will get the most out of. Also, when you're planning, give yourself a little wiggle room with the time. Figure out how long you have the kids for and then plan your lesson accordingly. If you have time to play a fun game before the lesson starts, then go ahead and do that. It will give kids a little bit more time in case they're running late, and it'll give the other kids who are there time to get to know you more and the other students and just have fun before starting in on the lesson. Also, give yourself some time to have extra teaching moments. If you tell your students to turn to the book of Revelations and they don't know where that's at, then take time to teach them and to show them how they can find Revelation on their own, or any book of the Bible next time they want to look something up. Be smart with your time, but not so strict that you miss out on these extra teaching opportunities. 2. Get the kids' interest before starting the lesson. You can play a game with them that ties into the lesson or ask a relating question to get their attention and get them thinking about the main theme of the lesson before you even start teaching it. For example, if you're doing a lesson all about forgiveness, ask the students to think and share of a time when they did something that upset someone or disobeyed their parents and they had to ask for forgiveness from a family member or a friend, and then that friend gave it to them. That gets their minds thinking about forgiveness before you even dive into the lesson. 3. Relate the lesson to the students and be relational. This is a great time for everyone to get to know each other. As a teacher, share some of your personal experiences and stories. Provide your own examples for them. Make sure it's not just adult things such as buying a house or dealing with finances or your taxes. They can't relate to that and they don't understand that. So they're not going to care as much about that than about stories of you when you were their age. Those are things that they can relate to, so talk about them. They forget that adults were kids too. So when you tell them stories about when you were their age, that really speaks to them and they really enjoy those. Also, asking them questions like think of a time when someone had to forgive you, that helps them draw connections from the story and the lesson that you're teaching to their everyday life and their actually what they're going through. And so ask them questions like that. Encourage them to think of their own examples or think of things that could happen later on in life or once they go back to school. If they can't connect it to their lives, it's not going to stick. And 4, wrap up the lesson with a key verse or a main theme that has been repeated throughout the whole lesson. Don't give them 100 different punchlines for them to go home with. Just give them one takeaway that they can tell their parents or family or friends or whoever they go home with what they learned about. Tell them the main point of the lesson and then make sure they understand it. Have them tell you the main point before they leave the door. That way you know they learned something. Those are the tips I have for you about lesson planning and getting your lessons fun and engaging. I really hope they helped, and I hope you guys have fun in your lessons with your kids.